without champagne or rum. Achieve success with global.media.com. Every step forward is a new beat to your drum. Achieve success with global.media.com. Let's celebrate it with or without.
Yay.
I love that music.
Yes,
it
Yeah.
sticks in my head every Tuesday, and I have to play other music to get it out of my head. It's irritating. It's great, but it's irritating.
As I get to do, you can thank Cyrus, Mr. Cyrus,
Yeah,
for his genius.
Cyrus is a genius.
I,
Yeah. It's meant to stick in your head. So
I heard a rumor, Lisa, that I think your one's coming. So I hear. Don't ask me why. He said don't
yes,
tell.
he said
Hmm.
look out for something. So okay.
Yeah. He said don't tell her, but I'm like, I haven't told you. You knew already, so that's
Yeah,
not
he said that he's planning something or planning an event for something. Yeah, that's okay.
Ignore us. No, you're the star. No, Queen Leah is the star. I don't know who's the star.
Leah is the star today.
So
Yes.
you two decide. So I'll leave it to you, Lisa, and then let's welcome our friends. They're joining us beautifully. So no, it's not Leah yet. I'm coming back to you, Lisa. So you're the host, right?
We're all a little tired today.
Let's welcome. You have to wake up now. We're live. Our friends are here, right?
I am here as best as I can be.
You
Okay.
Perk up.
Menopause. I'm just gonna blame menopause again. I'm allowed.
We do see you, Christy. Thanks for being here. Of course, Nick, that's a great publisher and great anthology creator. So glad you're here. So Dr. Leslie's here as well. I wondered where you were. This is my earliest I've ever been, I think. I'm lying.
We had some tech difficulties, as usual.
I always do, right?
Yeah.
Queen Leah, we welcomed you already. Happy Taco Tuesday chat out. Is that a thing? I'm sure it's a thing, right? Taco,
yes, especially in America, yes. Taco Tuesday is a thing.
There's one thing we don't talk about enough, Lisa. That's your global food channel.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'll put it in the comments. The Global Food Network. It's a great channel, a LinkedIn channel to follow. Great information on each food. Every time they have a national food day, America always has a food day, right?
Yeah.
But Noni and her team gives good information on where the food came from and the history behind it. So if you're not following the Global Food Network, please do. I'll put the link in the comments in a bit.
That's what reminded me. I think we were talking about pies last time, and then we were talking about your global food channel.
Yes. She has a great post about chocolate today, I think.
Kelly, welcome. Of course, one of our amazing special guests in the recent past. So I'm so glad you're here. So I will share the link to join the studio in the comments. So we'd love to have all of you, some of you, join us and come and share with us. Look, if you're here, my friends, do say hello. We're not going to know you're here otherwise. We can see the numbers, but we can't see who, right? So a lot of them welcome you and show you our appreciation.
Let me see if the comments are coming up.
Too much talking from me. I'm going quiet now.
For a bit, because you have to introduce yourself. So don't go too far. This is a good topic, so you don't have to go under your bed and hide, okay? It's money mindset. This is your forte, so you can stick around. But welcome everyone to another episode where we talk about menopause and all things related to menopause. We have a wonderful guest speaker today who's back for part 2 of financial planning and that money mindset. So let me give my co-hosts a couple minutes to introduce themselves, and then we'll get the party started. So Leah, please, for the few of us who may not know who you are, please let the people know.
I'm sure there's plenty who don't know who I am, but it's amazing to see everybody here. Queen Dr. Leslie Flowers and Nick Galindo and Christy D. Williams, great to see you. My name is Leah Garcia, financial strategist and insurance professional, and I serve entrepreneurs and enterprises with up to 50,000 employees, and I educate them on how to properly protect, distribute, and transfer their wealth so they can build their legacy, create generational wealth, and really build a family dynasty. I believe that true wealth is having success in all areas. I call it the 7 F's in our faith, our family, our finance, fitness, fun, philanthropic, and food. Because, yes, Lisa, I am a foodie too, as you know. And I just truly believe that every single one of us can build that family dynasty. It doesn't matter where you are right now financially, how much money you think you have or how much money you think you don't have. We can all start from zero and really change our last name forever and create our own family dynasty. And that's really my crusade. And yeah, I love this topic here, talking about our money mindset during midlife and menopause. We got to master it. If we don't put in the infrastructure when we're younger, we're going to pay the price in more than one ways when we get older. That's all there is to it. Health and wealth go together. Some people tell me I'd rather be in good health than have wealth, but I promise you, they both go hand in hand. So that's my introduction. I'm excited to be here, Miss Lisa, and of course with a great, amazing Mr. Ennie, my soul brother from another mother with the global media. I've been missing you, Ennie. Haven't seen you for like a whole day or something. I'm not sure. It's been a minute or something.
One whole day.
No, it's been a minute, is what they say, Queen Leah. It's been a minute. I'm like, really? What's what that means? So thank you so much. I forgot to put you in the screen. That's my little brain falling asleep for a second. Americo, we see you. Welcome. There's LinkedIn user. I have no idea what LinkedIn user is. I better open my LinkedIn event page. But welcome everyone. So I'm still Ennie. And what am I doing these days? I'm still doing what I do, right? I'm still helping my friends to write, edit, publish the book. And then when they won't publish the books, we tend to help our clients to launch their book. That normally involves guaranteeing the Amazon bestseller awards. I say, and I live in joy because I can say happily, all of our clients has 100% success rate in making bestsellers. I tell you, I live on that. If you want to help to write your book, let's talk. Let's help you. I've got writers who will help you. If you want to help to sell the books that you've written, again, let's talk. So they will happily help you to get more sales, especially starting with that bestseller badge. That will help you get more visibility. Get you more credibility for your book as well. That's pretty much what I do. Of course, we do events like this. And that's why Lisa has me here. She doesn't really want me talking, but I'm here because I press buttons in the background for many people's events. If that could help you, then let's talk. Otherwise, I'm just here to have fun. Enough about me. Lisa's a star. So, Lisa, we're coming back to you.
Well, I'm glad to hear that you have fun on my show, although we talk about menopause, so that's a good thing. But I think you do a lot more than push buttons, okay? Please. Just want to send some love to another co-host that is always with us, Paulette Hallam, that's keeping you in our prayers, sending love and hugs your way, my friend. Welcome again, everyone. I think LinkedIn users Alison Johnson, I believe. LinkedIn loves us, right? So it doesn't put all the comments in the chat. But welcome, everyone. My name is Lisa Favak. I'm a dietitian, educator, author. I get to say author, and transformation coach for women's health issues. But I focus on perimenopause and menopause because we still have women who feel a lot of guilt, feel a lot of shame, can't talk about certain issues. And my purpose in life is to bring awareness and education and much needed knowledge to all populations, men included. A lot of times men are more in the audience than women, which is always great for me to see. And today is no different. We're talking about that money mindset we need to have, especially as we are into midlife, perimenopause and menopause. A few weeks ago, we started a conversation about that financial freedom, what we need to have, what tools we need to have. And I can't think of another person who focuses on women as well. Leah has always given great advice. If you are not following her, please do. She has shows all the time that just gives wonderful advice. But today we wanted to focus more on that mindset because a lot of clients, as Leah was talking about earlier, they want to be healthy, but they don't see the link to their bank accounts, their savings. Because when we're entering into midlife, perimenopause, and menopause, a lot of health issues come up. You haven't changed your diet, you haven't changed your exercise regimen, but all of a sudden you're experiencing uncontrolled blood sugars, uncontrolled blood pressure, your cholesterol issues, cholesterol is going up. Your risk for heart disease shoots up as soon as you enter into menopause. You haven't done anything, and it shoots up higher than a man's risk. So all of a sudden, you're having to deal with, your normal work issues, family, all of those things. And then all of a sudden, you add a layer called menopause. And that brings so many stresses with it. And we need to start thinking about, okay, what do I want my future self to be like? How do I want to live? Do I want to travel? Do I want to work? Do I want to get a second job? Do I enjoy the job that I'm doing now? Maybe I want to switch. Do I have enough savings, to do that switch? So there are a lot of things that we need to start thinking about. So I wanted to have Leah here again, just to give us some idea of, okay, why, in your experience, Leah, why do women struggle with talking about money? It's like even thinking about that idea of being rich is like, okay, we don't want to talk about it. We don't even mention the word rich. What is that struggle that comes with talking about money in the first place?
Well, I think that's the $1,000,000 question, Miss Lisa, is why do we as women have struggles with talking about money? A lot of women will reach out to me and they want help. They want assistance. They say, yes, please, you're the person to help me. But then they struggle to make that appointment. They struggle to keep that appointment. They struggle to have that conversation. And I'm not really sure because I don't bite, I promise, at least not hard. Right? But I think that in spite of everything that we've done, we're here in 2025. That used to sound like some kind of woo-woo outer space. When I was growing up, the year 2000, we thought that we were going to explode by then. We wouldn't even get to the year 2000. And here we are in 2025. Even with everything that we've done, even with all the women empowerment and all these different opportunities that we have, you see so many women in the workforce, and most new businesses are actually women owned. Even with all of that we've done, women still tend to have more of a difficult time to have conversations about money. And I say it's time to flip the script. I see Miss Noni's here. I can do 3 backflips and 3 cartwheels now because she's here. And I say it's absolutely time to flip the script and do a cartwheel. That's one of her favorite quotes. I love her quote. I think it's so brilliant. And it's really, for me, it really does summarize what we're talking about here. It is time for us to flip that script and celebrate having these conversations. And what I say is start with just one bite, one little bite. It doesn't mean you have to redo everything and suddenly, I talk about family dynasty and building this wealth. But you know what? Maybe you just start with $50 a month that you pay yourself first. Maybe you just start, and I don't say just, I'm sorry that I'm using that word just. Maybe you start with paying down your debt. Maybe you start with squirreling away a few dollars so that you can invest in yourself, so that you can do some things to invest in your good health. It doesn't always mean that we're starting with a huge bucket of money. We all start with where we are. And I think sometimes we as women, we get lost in the sauce. We get lost in the sauce like a meatball. We hear so many things and we take it all in, and then we have that analysis paralysis. Too many voices, and we're not really getting everything on one sheet of music. So that's what I think. And what I know, and I'm not really sure, I'd love to hear from all of you. Maybe you have some other viewpoints. But also what I know is that women outlive their counterparts, their male counterparts. And even if you don't handle the money now, more than likely there will become a time when either your partner's health fails and you're going to need to take it over, or they will pass away and you're going to be forced to take over the household finances. And what happens is that means generally the women in the relationship are left to make all of those final decisions. They have to decide everything about how they're going to transfer and distribute that wealth. They have to decide who they're leaving the assets to and who they're not leaving assets to. They have to decide what assets to spend down, what assets to liquidate when things go a little awry. And that's a huge burden. And think about that. If you've never dealt with the money in the household and now you're left to make all these final decisions, many women that I come into contact with that are in their 70s and in their 80s, they're feeling that burden of having to make those decisions. And it's almost like they're so upset with their partner for leaving them with all these financial decisions to make and never had that opportunity or never took that opportunity for them to make those decisions together. So those are my thoughts. I'd love to hear from all of you.
Yeah, such a good place to start. I remember when we first met, probably more than a year ago, and you were telling me your experiences and I was sharing mine. You know, a lot of women come and they say, well, my husband takes care of this, so I don't need to take care of it. But they don't know where any of the books are, the passwords for anything. And as you said, most of the times the husband goes first. And I know it goes back to the dynamic, and you know, everybody in the audience, we're in different countries, we have different cultures. So a lot of times the man is the head of the household, but we need to have the conversation. Okay, if something happens to you, you become incapacitated. Okay, so what's the plan? You know, what do we do? What is XYZ? What's the plan? And it's not about taking over anything or disrespecting people or anything like that. But I think we need to have that. It's a difficult conversation. We may need some sort of external coach to help us with that conversation. But just sit down with your partner and say, okay, listen, we're both getting up in age. If something was to happen to you, okay, so you know, where's the book? What is the password for this? What is the plan? Who do I turn to? Who do I call? You know, it's something that we really need to consider, because tomorrow isn't promised to anyone, and things could happen in an instant. And I see so many women just struggle. I mean, you're already struggling with menopause, and then to put that extra layer of, okay, what do I do now? People can become so paralyzed and not know where to turn or where to go. And you're going to pause a little bit. I see we have some new people in the audience, and I want to get your take as well. I know mindset is something that you work on a lot, and I wanted to get your 2 cents with this as well. And you're muted.
You know, you can have 2 cents. Let's welcome Jay. How you doing, Jay? Jay says this is a great team to help you in your retirement years, or a time to pivot into your next iteration of life. Indeed, Queen Leah definitely does that. And I didn't know Noni does backflips. Does she? Okay, we do now, right? Welcome, Noni. So, Platine, I haven't seen you for a while, my friend. Glad you're here. Thanks for joining us. Superwoman Margaret, one of my co-authors in that book behind me, yeah, over there somewhere. There's a letter from COVID. Glad you're here. Again, if you haven't been to one of our rooms recently, the jam sessions that she runs, her music shows on Go Brunch, do connect with her and do go along as well. Nick says, a good thing is, even if starting late, it can change your future security. Indeed, of course it can. So it's never too late to start, right? That's saying, you know, the best time to start was yesterday. You know, next best time to start is today, right? If not, start tomorrow. Just start sometime, my friends. You got to start sometime. Yeah, this is worth conversation. Cyrus, welcome. I do tell them now, Cyrus, that the opening music is by you. So I'm so glad you're here. I've missed someone. Clearly, I must have missed someone, right? Who's Cara Zone? I can't see the person. Maybe you can see them in the comments somewhere.
Yeah, I
No,
think
well,
it's Leah.
that's you. Okay, sorry. Okay, now you have to explain that to me, Leah. I have no idea how you become that person, right? Where you are.
Because
No,
Leah's the best.
no, I think the money conversation is a weird one, isn't it? It's always a weird one because some people think it's wrong to talk about money. It's wrong to want money. It's wrong to have money. I don't get it. That's just that's not what God said. God didn't say money is bad. God didn't say I don't want you to have no money. It's more about how I guess it's how you use that money. Yes, okay, money is just a thing. It's a currency. We have it, we spend it to acquire other things, or maybe to help other people. So I don't buy into this money is evil thing at all. I think money is a good thing. The more of it you have, for me, it's about peace of mind. I say a lot of people don't understand. There's a difference between wealth and money. That's my personal take. Queen I wonder what you think. And I think, I want wealth, real wealth. Wealth is not necessarily wealth is partly money, but it's also knowing that you can pay your bills. But if you have real wealth, then you don't have to worry about money at all. You got more than enough. Many people have money, and it's nowhere near enough. So they just end up worrying all day and all night about not having enough money. We need to start building our wealth. I think that's more the imperative to have that peace of mind. I think the other issue about how we never think it's going to be us, right? Of course, there's no chance of me dying tomorrow. There is. There's no chance of something going wrong with me and my wife, for example. Of course, there is. And would anyone know where to find where you put all your money or different places you put your money? They would. For me, I think we don't face the truth. The truth is that how many jobs have you had? I've had several jobs, right? Each of those jobs has a pension pot, for example. How would they know to go and find those pension pots? It's a hassle. It's a proper. I have a financial advisor for a reason. They can't find those money, but I've already put all my pension pots into one. To know because that was the only way it's going to help me. Because in some places your money is just rotting away. It's going down in value, not up. Now, so we need someone like Leah to really help us to make sense of our money and make a plan to actually you turn that money into wealth. There's a difference, my friends. See, I talk too much, Lisa. I'm going to hide. I'm going back again now.
Yeah, but that was perfection. Come on. That is what we need to hear. And I totally agree. We have this thing that money is bad. Money is just a thing. It's like food. Food is not healthy or unhealthy. Food is just food. How we use it, that is where it is the thing, right? That can we can take something and it can be part of a healthy diet. We could take the same thing and make it part of an unhealthy diet. It's the same thing with food. And if you have too much, hey, give it away. We have so many charitable cases, people who actually need that help. So if you don't want to keep that money in your bank account for whatever reason, give it to someone who needs it. So making more money, I don't think should ever be a problem. It's how you use it. But I love what you said, Annie, about that peace of mind. I think especially as I am getting older, that peace of mind is so important. I want as little stress as I could possibly get. I'm not into the drama. I just want peace. And if having more money in my bank account means if something were to happen tomorrow, I could pay that bill without going into debt, I think that is where we need to move to. And I love what Leah said, just taking that $50 every month. Even if it's $20 every month, if that's where you need to start, it's better to start than not start, because at the end of the year, you will have a little cash cow, a little surplus where if you want to take a small staycation, okay, it's not enough to go Paris, okay, great. But you can go to an Airbnb with your family and just relax. Think of the joy, think of the peace of mind. So even those little things goes to your mental health. I think we need to really start looking at a plan. So Leah, my next question is, okay, well, where do we start when we want to make a plan? What is the first thing we need to look at? What are the things we need to look at for that plan?
Yeah, so much to unpack here, but I love this comment by, of course, Margaret Martinez, my corazón. She says, money deserves respect. And, you know, I do this talk about the power of the penny. Maybe you've heard of me talk about this before, but do you know if you took a penny and you doubled it every day for a year, you'd have a number that's too big to even, that doesn't even exist, with so many zeros, we don't even know that number. And so how many times are we wishing and praying for more money, but then we see these pennies and what do? We just toss them aside. They're in the bottom of our purse. Sometimes people even throw them away. You know what we do with a little, we will do with a lot. And if we don't respect our money when we think we just have one penny, when we get abundance, we won't respect it either. And by the way, do you know that recently our president said we're no longer going to be printing pennies because it costs too much money to make 1 cent. Now think about this. This is not really 1 cent. I think it costs about 3 cents, 3 or 4 cents to create 1 penny. I could go on and on about this. I'm telling you, this is a deep conversation. So where should we start? You know, I'm going to always defer to, two things. Number one, I call it our money mind shift. We have to shift our thinking about the way we think about money. And Annie and Miss Lisa, you both touched on it. And that is, it's about how we feel about money. If we believe that money is bad or evil, or we could have too much, I don't believe there's any such thing as too much money. People tell me, well, I don't want to make so much money because then I have to pay taxes. I say, the heck with that. If you're paying too much taxes, it's because you need to meet with me. Okay, because there's advanced tax strategies where we can eliminate, mitigate taxes. It's about understanding the rules of the game. Most of us are playing the money game and we don't know the rules. We don't know if we could pass go. We don't know if we go to jail. We don't know if we could buy a property. And then we're wondering why we don't have it. So where we would start, obviously, are thinking about money. And then number two, I'm always going to defer to the Wall of Wealth, which is my 1-page financial plan. The first layer of the Wall of Wealth is your health insurance, life insurance, and a disability plan. Now, there might be ways to mix and match that, but if we don't have that first core foundation, we don't pass go, we don't collect $200. Most people have the wrong type of health insurance and they don't even know it until something happens. I get that phone call afterwards. I've got 2 clients currently who have an HMO. In the US, we call it an HMO, where they have to go to only specific doctors and hospitals. And both of them need access to a doctor that's outside of their network in order to save their life. They're both battling cancer right now. I wish they would have taken the time to understand the difference between an HMO and a PPO. So that's first and foremost. Understand your deductibles and all of that. And then life insurance. A lot of people will say, well, I don't need life insurance because I don't have any heirs. I don't need life insurance because I don't have any money. Well, life insurance has come a long way in the past few years. You can have things that are called living benefits, money that pays you cash if you should get sick or hurt, have a major accident or a major diagnosis like cancer, heart attack, stroke. So maybe you don't have somebody who is dependent on your income, but we all have our good health that we want to protect. And then disability. If you have a regular W-2 employee, you might have state disability. If you've ever had to wait on that check, you'll know why you want a supplement. And if you're 1099, the entrepreneurs, my enterprises, then you know you don't have a disability program. So it only makes sense to have a life insurance that will allow you to have those living benefits, things that will pay you kind of like a disability plan. And typically, to have life insurance with living benefits is more cost effective than having a standalone disability plan. Now, I'm talking about things that are available in the US. I don't know that these are all available worldwide, but I would say look at the foundation in those aspects. And then I would say from there, we look at emergency funds. So those are really the 4-pillar foundations. And I'd say 5, because if we don't upgrade our stinking thinking, it doesn't matter how much money we attract. We will magically spend it all. We will magically have other things that take our money. And we'll never really accumulate wealth because it's built first in our mind. If we don't believe we're worthy, it'll leave us. That's why people who win the lottery, what do? The average person who has a lottery ticket winnings, they will be more in debt than they were within 3 to 5 years. It's not because the pile of money wasn't big enough. It's because their identity wasn't grown into it, because they didn't abide by the exchange principle. There's no such thing as something for nothing. Okay. We do the exchange principle. We're exchanging our time for money. We're exchanging our services for money, right? I don't believe in sacrifice. I just think that word should be banned. I believe that we are exchanging. And if we can embrace it and understand it's all about exchange, an exchange principle, then when we do accumulate that wealth, we will be ready for it. So that's my 2 cents, but I want to hear from all of you. I know we've got somebody in the back in the waiting room here too, Miss Lisa.
Oh, okay. I'm now seeing the chat. Gosh, so many things you said there. I love the idea of looking at what you have available, because I know it differs by state. So even in the states, every state has their own set of laws. Each country will have something different. But looking at things like your life insurance, seeing if they have that living benefits part. I know a lot of people, especially in the Caribbean, there's a very taboo idea around getting life insurance. Some people think if they start to plan those things, it's like they're calling things from the universe saying, I'm ready to die, that sort of thing, right? But we have to plan, even if we don't have living heirs or whatever, we have to plan for, okay, something happens to us, we get injured on the job. What is the plan? Because as you said, we may have insurance, but the specialist that we need to see is outside of that, and we have to pay out of pocket. You know, it's the same thing here. So we follow a plan similar to the UK, where our base healthcare is free. But if we need a specialist, we have to pay out of pocket. And many people, we think, okay, well, healthcare is free. We'll just sit in the hospital for how much ever hours and wait. And then they realize, okay, what we actually need isn't covered by the hospital. And as we're saying, when you enter into midlife, when you enter into perimenopause and menopause, our risk for so many things goes up. Because just by those hormonal fluctuations, we have uncontrolled blood sugars, uncontrolled blood pressures, cholesterol issues, heart disease, kidney disease. Many women have cognitive issues, so things like ADHD comes up. The testing for ADHD is expensive. The medication for the ADHD is expensive, right? So there's so many health issues that come up, and we haven't even touched the other things that could come up that we may need money for. So this is, if you haven't had a plan yet, today is the day. If you're listening on replay, whenever you're hearing the message is for you. Today is the day. We need to start. If you need to start by putting $20 a month somewhere that you don't spend it, start there. Look and see what's available to you in your country. Talk to professionals in your country, because we're all not living in the States where we have Leah to help us, right? But get the ideas from this show and then seek out the professionals in your area and ask them, you know, about the insurance. What can we do if something happens to us on the job? If we need to get a specialist, what are the things we need to look for, right? We need to start asking these questions. And if we have a partner that we need to discuss these things with, again, always go back to, okay, if something were to happen, what is the plan, right?
I want to circle back, Miss Lisa, to what you just shared. And you said, you know, if you don't have $50, start with $20. I say if you don't have $20, start with a penny. It truly is not about how much money you start with. It's about building up that atrophy muscle. Most of us don't have a strong muscle of saving and investing, and that's okay. But if you start by paying yourself first, and that may be 1 penny today, I promise you, the energy you put towards that 1 penny will multiply. It's not about having thousands and thousands of dollars to save in advance. You will get there, but starting where you are, if you feel like you have too much month at the end of your money, start with a penny. And you will be amazed. That penny will become $1, will become $5, will become $100 in a very short period of time, because what you're saying is, I'm important. What you're saying is, I'm valuable. But when we don't pay ourselves first and we kind of always put everybody else first, what do they say in the airplane? Put your oxygen mask first on yourself. See, so many of us are trying, and I think it's beautiful. So many of us are trying to give out of scarcity and lack, meaning we don't have our own finances in order, but yet we're trying to be giving to others. And I think that's admirable, but that's incongruent, right? If we don't pay ourselves first, if we don't value ourselves first, then all we're doing is we're creating more lack and scarcity. I always say to myself every day, I give out of abundance, therefore I receive out of abundance. I don't know why, but people give me things all the time. But it's because it's the energetic system that I'm following, right? I give out of abundance. I don't give when I don't have anything to give, right? Some people will put on a credit card or go without. And I would really respectfully to rethink that. First give to yourself. And then, because Cassandra Terry said it this way, what's in the cup is for us, and what spills out onto the saucer is for others. So we have to fill up our own cup first.
Annie, you want to just add to that?
Yes, I would say, as someone who's got his own business, for so long, Queen Leah, I didn't pay myself. I paid everyone else, and it's miserable. It's miserable. There's I can't think of it. We think we're doing right, as you say, Queen Leah, but now we're just not. Now we're making our lives more stressful, or making ourselves poorer. I say, even the concept of, well, and I'll put money away for a rainy day. How many rainy days do we have? Every day is a rainy day, right? Every day is a rainy day. So even that concept is a bit, it's crazy, But I think, learning to, to think of our financial future, that's our priority. It's not just for us. I think for our family as well. I think, I'd rather leave my family with a will than with a bill. And many people leave the families with bills, right? Then before I come back to that, give me 1 second. Let's welcome Dr. Melissa Houston. She shouted to me, but she's listening during her massage. She says, I'm glad she has time to, she had this time to comment as well. So Margaret says, the value of the penny is far greater than just a penny. So I've got a penny pot. I haven't used it yet, but I'm going to have to use it now. It's for Christmas. He buys my drinks at Christmas. Yeah, that's the idea. The wife's got a couple downstairs as well, and they're full. So that's always a weird thing, right? You think it's just a penny. It all mounts up. By the time we count it, I said there'll be at least £30 in there. That will get me through Christmas just about on drink. Just about, right? Now, Sarah says inflation erodes the purchasing power of money. It really does. Again, people would think inflation doesn't affect me. It's only what goes in the shops. But it affects the money in the bank, right? It affects the money that you're sitting on. If you've got money under your bed, that money is lowering in value every day. So as far as now, which leads me to ask a question for you, Queen Leah. Is investments better than putting money in the bank? I know the answer. I know what I think. I'm saying now, from your perspective, should we always seek to invest the money we have, or should we just leave in the bank to gather dust?
Yeah, well, and that kind of circles back to Cyrus's comment that inflation erodes your money. right? It erodes the purchasing power. So should I have the money in the bank or should I invest the money? We have to be able to walk and chew gum at the same time. We need both. We need liquid money that is outside of the stock market. In other words, that's your emergency money. Don't have your emergency fund as your stocks. That's not an emergency fund, okay? Because stocks go up, they go down. And then we need to be able to save and invest because we have to outpace inflation. If we don't outpace inflation, that's one of the biggest money killers that it's a blind spot people are not aware of. They have massive bank accounts. However, they don't understand that they're not keeping in pace with inflation. So they're losing buying power. At the same time, you don't want to have too much money in a savings account either, because that's that dormant money. Listen, I don't believe in just having everything invested. We do need that dormant money. It is, like you alluded to, Annie, it is that peace of mind, and it also eliminates a lot of stress. If we don't have an emergency fund, I've seen this where a lot of people will have a lot of extra stress because they don't have that $1,000 for that deductible or for that treatment. Like I shared, I've got 2 clients right now who are struggling with their health. They both have cancer, and neither one of them can get access to the doctors that they want because of the fact that their insurance doesn't cover it. So one's looking at taking money out of her house, if that's possible. I don't even know that that's possible. The other one's trying to do a fundraising with the family. I don't know that that's going to work for either one of them. Imagine though, if they had that emergency fund so that they could actually get the treatment that they want and need. And I will even upgrade that. Imagine if they had life insurance with living benefits, so they didn't have to pay one of those dollars out of their household expenses. They didn't have to take it out of their equity in their home. They didn't have to ask friends. They could literally ask the company for permission and receive that check and use that money to take care of their good health. And Mr. Mike, he asks, what is inflation? It's when your money loses buying power. Remember, eggs were 99 cents for 36,000 eggs. I don't know how much they were, but now they're like $5 or $6 a dozen. That's inflation. What is the best tactic to deal with stagflation? Ooh, that's another episode, Cyrus.
Yeah, I think that conversation is also outside of this. But these are the questions people should start asking themselves on what is available in your country that could help mitigate those things. Any, are you seeing the other comments that are coming up?
I suppose the US has favorable views on money that we don't get the rest of the world. I mean, you mentioned life insurance earlier. Yeah, and I suppose our fallback in illness is critical illness cover. That's what we have. But everything here, when it comes to life insurance, is more. They want you. Well, I don't think they actually want you to die. They want your policy to expire, and you're still alive. They haven't paid a penny out. That's why I want to die soon, but no one's going to help me, right? Damn. My life insurance is going to. Again, our life insurance protections here, they're time limited. Is the point, right? So in the US, you seem to have a whole of life policies, and that you can actually do stuff with. You can take money out, put money back in. It's like a glorified investment pot that never goes down in value. Imagine that. So different rules, different places, always weird. Let me do some more comments, and I'll hide myself away again. So I see Melissa says, there are excellent examples of ways to protect yourself. We have multiple layers of insurance just in case, and there really are many. Now, I suppose, like Queen Leah, here's a question for you. Some Americans have this phobia about insurance. What is it? Have they lost their minds? Yes.
Yeah, I think they have, because we have insurance on everything. We have insurance on our cell phones. We have insurance on our cars. But yet we shy away from putting insurance on the most valuable possession we have, which is ourselves. That doesn't make any sense to me. I don't attract a lot of people who have that phobia. But back in the day, I think when I first started, I would have clients who were really, really afraid of getting life insurance. And, they felt like it was just money for Sancho kind of thing. Maybe it's because, I mean, I don't really even know. Maybe it's because I've been around longer, so I don't really attract that. I'm not really sure. But if you are feeling that way, if you feel like life insurance is, something that would attract something negative or something that is just for other people, I would love to talk to you. Maybe I could learn from you. That's a very nice comment, Michael. There was another comment up here that was about, let's see. I'm gonna scroll up, Benny. There was another really good comment. Oh, Michael had another comment. In the world of poverty, how do we give from poverty? Are we just extending poverty? That's how I feel. I really feel that when we give out of scarcity, then we do, in my mind, attract more lack and scarcity. And I know a lot of people who are well-meaning and they're just on limited finances, which is okay, but be very, very aware of overgiving. I think there's such a thing as overgiving. Remember, put the oxygen mask on yourself first.
Yeah, I suppose there's a part of the thinking in that sense. I can understand. I guess it's a law of maybe it's karma, a law of karma. What goes around comes around, right? And if you give, you get. So many times it's tempting to cancel my charity donations. Now, my money that goes to charity, I say from my account, the direct debits, and I give to several charities. And I guess when money is running short, it's tempting to cancel those donations. But so I'm going to believe that if I carry, the time to give is when I haven't got a lot, but I can afford it. That's why I'm giving, right? I can't give from what I can't afford. But I think I don't want to be running scared of giving. I guess when I think and believe that what goes around comes around. If you give, you get. It's a way. It's a mindset thing, Queen Leah. Are you saying we should drop that? Are you saying we should change that?
No, not at all. I'm not saying that at all. I love giving. My goal is to donate $1 million a year. Okay, so I definitely believe in giving. I believe that givers gain. However, I'm saying that if you're not sure how you're going to feed your family and you're taking money out of your household income to help someone else, while that is very generous and honorable, you're really attracting, in my mind, and I could be wrong, but this is what I've learned, is that you're really attracting more lack and scarcity. And that doesn't do your family any good. Right. So I definitely believe in giving. I think it's one of the 7 F's, philanthropic. I believe in that. It's my intention to build a community center. And I used to say 1, but now I'm thinking I can build them all throughout the country and even through the world. This is kind of coming up again, so I want to address this. They're talking about inflation. How do we keep up with inflation, stagflation? And here's the thing. Here's one idea to embrace, and maybe this will help you. We cannot put all of our eggs in one basket. The majority of people here in the US had the majority of their assets in 2, maybe 3 ways. If they're an employee, they have a house and they have equity, and then they have a 401k. And then there's no way to keep up with stagflation or inflation because the stock market is unpredictable. It has its ebbs and flows. It goes up, it goes down, it goes sideways. And we can't predict when that will be. I'm not saying we shouldn't invest in that. What I'm saying is that is never going to guarantee that you're going to keep up with inflation or even be able to consider what stagflation is. And then if they're self-employed entrepreneur, they may have an IRA. Okay, that's still putting all of your eggs in one basket. We have to have multiple layers. I talk about trust deeds and carrying notes and even precious metals, but that comes at the top of the wall of wealth. We don't start there. See, this is where people get tricked up, is they hear some financial guru who talks about precious metals and they get all excited about that. And so they forget about the health insurance because they're young. They get no life insurance because they think they're not going to die. They have no plan for disability, and all their money is trapped up in precious metals. And as soon as somebody gets sick, somebody passes away, guess what they have to do? They have to liquidate that because they never put in the proper foundation. So I hope that helps, Michael. I hope that gives you a little bit of things to chew on.
Look, I forgot to welcome Linda Meyer. Linda, who were in Canada. I'm glad you're here. Is Linda in Canada? Yes, she is. Someone else told me, I'm not in Canada. I'm like, damn, I thought you were. Oh, I leave that. So Alison is saying, this topic is very relevant. Thanks for the insights and amazing insights. We'd love to have you in the studio, Alison, but you have to turn your microphone or your camera on. Otherwise, we can't hear you. You can have your camera off. That's not that, but you have to do when you join the studio. Then you can turn your camera off. You have to have those settings enabled before I can bring you on stage. That's what happened earlier. I saw this long question from Michael, which so we'll get to that in a second, I'm sure. And I found this poverty question now. I have now, right? Who else is here? I see Christiana. I see you. Welcome, Christiana. That's our baby loss and miscarriage expert. So glad you're here. So, Marcus. Okay, Marcus' comments showed up now. So insurance is seen as giving away money that a con artist never gives back. That is so funny. That is hilarious, right? But I can see why. That's why I said to you, I want to die before my policy expires. I mean, I suppose it's how some people view insurance differently, Queen Leah. This is the point, right? I think we want to claim on our insurance, not realizing that to claim means we suffered harm. That's what insurance pays for, right?
Insurance is leverage. That's all it is. If we have insurance on our car, what are we doing? We're leveraging the insurance company in case someone steals our car or we get into a major accident. If we have insurance on our cell phone, we're leveraging the insurance company in case somebody steals our phone. So that's all it is. It's leverage. And by the way, if it's not for the person and they think that it's just stealing their money, then, if it's not for you, it's not for you. But I think of insurance, the way I structure it, it's like having insurance, a guarantee, a leverage on your money. Why would you accept all the risk when you can leverage that risk to the insurance company? That would be my question.
So I agree with you. So I remember a friend of mine, Rick. He had a very nice car, right? Nice car, and his insurance ran out. He's like, I can go a day without insurance. You know what? That's the day he drove into one of those deers crossing the road. Nearly killed him. Totaled the car completely, dented the front of the car, had to go. So one day without insurance, and everything just went. Everything that we thought couldn't happen happened. I think it's the same in life, right? If you don't have life insurance, you are leaving yourself open to anything that could happen. So I've always had life insurance, thank goodness. Because I've always had car insurance too, by the way, and home insurance. You need insurance, otherwise you're exposed. So let's watch LinkedIn. That's Alison again. So pretty late for me. Okay, so I think you're in Dubai or Saudi, whichever one of those countries. So you are ahead of us in time. I understand. Say, Miss Aaron Gibson, welcome. Peekaboo says, great episode. Epic watch. Lisa. We're talking too much, Queen Leah. Lisa just gets to sit there quietly and listen to us entertain her, right?
Yeah.
But I'm gaining so much information. No, this has been great. And I love what you said, Leah, but a lot of those things aren't applicable to us outside the States, unfortunately. Insurance on cell phones, I don't think we have that at all. We need to kind of get with the times. But again, check out what laws you have in your country, what you have availability in your state. I know, okay, for example, in some banks, depending on the account you have, they only guarantee up to a certain amount of money. So it doesn't make sense saying, okay, I'm going to keep my money in the bank and put all of, as you said, eggs in one basket. And if the bank crashes, which can happen, they only guarantee a certain amount and you've lost the rest. So again, make sure you're checking what type of account it is and what of all the fine print laws that they don't tell you up front. Ask these questions. But the conversation has been great so far. If anyone has any Other questions, or you want to come on stage and share your experience with money mindset, or what you do to have a positive mindset around money, please come on stage and share with us. We do have some time, so you're free to come and share. And I was going to say something, and I know the hormones are, I told you, Annie, today was a bad day. It just went poof and disappeared. It will come back to me.
Well, I would just toggle on to your comment, which is what I always say, never take generic guru advice as your own personal recommendations. I don't know all of you. I don't know your finances. I don't know your debt. I don't know how much income you make. So this is all just generic overview. Really, it requires a one-on-one so that somebody can really look at your personal fingerprint. This is not something that's a DIY, and it's not really generic. I think that's where a lot of people get lost in the sauce, is they take it as gold and then they try to implement it and it doesn't really work out for them. Building your financial house is custom. This is all custom work. So just like I'm trying to give value here, again, it requires you to sit down with a financial professional so that they could see what is applicable for you.
Yeah.
It leads me to ask a question, Queen Leah. So I pay my financial advisors. Yeah, that tells you I got more than one, right? Of course, no. And then they get paid a percentage of money I make.
Hmm.
Yeah, so I have no problem with that. Yeah, I guess. Do you charge? How do you get paid is a question. Let me ask that. That's a better question, I think.
That's a great question. So I don't charge for assets under management, but I charge for a financial strategy. So if somebody just has a quick question, no big deal. But if they want me to really look over everything they have, become their financial coach, I'm going to be bringing in my team and recommendations, and that is something different. I charge about $3,100 a month, $20,000 for the year. But I guarantee if somebody's paying that, they're going to save way more than that. Way more than that. They're going to put more money in their pocket. At the same time, they're going to have access to things that they didn't even know that was available. A lot of things that I do for people, they've never heard of. Or they've heard of it and they're not really sure who to turn to. Oh, Michael's got these comments here. Well, I'm glad that you like that. I love this comment also by Michael. Why doesn't the insurance company give you back a fraction of what you put in at the end of the year? Well, you know what? That's how insurance companies are founded, right? They take our money and they invest our money, which, by the way, so does your bank. If you put money in the bank, do you think your money is with a little red bow and a little box and it has Mr. Michael M on it? No. The banks go out and they lend the money out in the form of credit cards, student loans, mortgage. That's what every company does. And by the way, so does your financial institution. If you have any of these big names or small names and they are investing your money on your behalf, they're doing the same thing that the banks do. I know that's a mind blower, but I'm telling you, we just don't understand what's behind the curtain. Okay. You didn't come here. You know me. This is a gloves off conversation. Okay. You didn't come here for rainbows and butterflies. I'm going to peel back the curtain so that you guys really understand what's happening. There's so much happening behind the curtain that we don't know about our own money. It's time for us to start turning towards our money. It's because when we turn towards our money, we can't be bamboozled.
Yeah, I agree. Look, there is an insurance company here that will give you some of your premium back if you don't claim at the end of the year.
Yeah.
That doesn't make me feel any better. Because, well, the one, I'm not a customer, and two, I don't know. No, what I want is a full payout if the need arises. I think it's understanding what insurance is. Insurance is protection. Right. It's not going to help you avoid this situation. But at least it can help you recover if something goes wrong, right? So offering me 10% of my premium back, so what? You know?
I think it depends on what type of insurance we're talking about. In my industry, I'm talking about life insurance. I'm talking about long-term care insurance. I'm talking about annuities. Like in those instances, they actually have programs that do pay your money back. So, but we're talking about like car insurance or, cell phone insurance. I don't know anything about that. That's not my wheelhouse.
And that's Allison. The bank has to grow their money and make money. From my money, yes. That's a business, right?
Yeah, and that's all banks all over the world.
Yeah, don't be a hater. If you're a banker, it's a great business to be in.
Yeah, but then having someone like Leah on your team to ask what is the best type of investment to make, which account should I use, which bank should I use, all of those little questions, I think. And that's why I love bringing Leah on this show, because I haven't met anyone, at least on LinkedIn, that really focuses on those little things and then really helps women as well. Because again, that whole mindset around money, we're not accustomed to it. We've been taken care of by our dads and then taken care of by our husbands. So there are conversations that we've never had or thoughts we've never had to, think about. But again, this is the time to start thinking about it, especially with the economy going as it is, America doing it, with it. All the new tariffs and all of those things. It's not just America, it trickles down to the rest of us. It affects our, what we could afford. And so again, finding someone that we could have these conversations with, and what is the best plan? What is the best plan? What do we need? We need to start asking these questions.
I love that comment. I'm sorry, go ahead, Annie.
I love the comment that you're looking at as well. Is it that one?
Well, no, actually, that's a great comment. I love that, Michael. I love to work with you. But I was going to highlight with what Lisa said, and that is, and now I just lost my train of thought. Oh, here's the thing, is that none of this matters if you don't understand it. If they're just selling you something, then they're just a salesman. I am not a salesperson. I'm a financial professional, financial strategist. I look at your finances holistically and proactively. And so I'm going to educate you. And if it makes sense for you, then you'll move forward. If it doesn't make sense for you, then you won't move forward. I'm not here to sell anybody anything and try to fit their size 11 foot into a size 9 shoe. That to me is sales techniques. What I do is education. What I do is I educate my clients. So you're right, Mr. Mike, that they cannot be bamboozled. My clients are understand so that if I fall off the face of the earth tomorrow, they're still understanding some basic concepts. So that was a huge, huge point, Lisa.
Charito, we see you. Jackie, we see you as well. Welcome. So I was in Jackie's room a couple of days. Yes, last night. I think it was last night, wasn't it? I think it was. Yeah, Jack's travel with Jax, and she was doing her 2 months anniversary. I said, Lisa, what's the anniversary? How many months anniversary we're gonna do?
Oh my goodness! Yeah, because you said it, I was like, wow, how long has this show been on? Yeah, I gotta go check.
Welcome, Charito. I know it's probably early morning for you, for sure.
Yeah, about 6 a.m.
Glad you're here. We appreciate you showing up. Dr. Tanya as well. Welcome for joining us. Look, I think we need a financial expert.
Yeah.
My financial, my IFAs are my best friends, and the rules in the UK change because I think they changed the certification and they changed the monitoring of what financial advisors do, right? The license changed and they have more scrutiny, and many people just dropped out of the market because they haven't got the license to practice. Now, but that felt like losing my right arm because this person I relied on so much. This person I knew all my business more than I did. Suddenly, he couldn't do anything. And that threw me back several years and cost me God knows how long. From before, I would normally have a broker who negotiates with the company, financial companies, let's say for a mortgage. So now I have to deal with several mortgage brokers. I don't even know what the hell they're trying to tell me or what the rates are and all this. I was like, damn, Chris, where have you gone? So the most important thing, if you take anything away from us today, my friends, is talk to someone like Ria. No, truly talk to her. No, that is your biggest friend when it comes to making money. Yes, you can use apps. Yes, you can do trading on apps, but you don't know what you're doing. Say my money is invested in the biggest financial, the biggest money market people. They're called St. James Place. They guarantee your returns, even though it's stock markets, they still guarantee returns. So you have to go. You can't just be throwing money here and there because you can lose it so easily these days, Queen Leah. People lose money every day.
Yeah.
Talking to financial advisor, someone who's independent, someone who's not really on your side. That's the key to building wealth. That's the key to making money.
That's huge. That is so huge. As always, Godfather, you're always doing mic drops and golden nuggets. People ask me, what is the best investment? It depends. It depends on you, your risk tolerance. How much money do you have? What's your time frame? Like, all of these things matter. There isn't a one size fits all best investment. It just doesn't exist. If you cannot explain it easily, like explain it to me like I'm 5 years old, then you have no business investing in it. That's my humble opinion. And by the way, I also want to share this because I see this a lot and it drives me crazy. Never take advice from somebody who's not licensed. I see so many people who write books, they have podcasts, they have TV shows, they do all these things, but they don't hold the proper licensing. If they're not licensed, in my opinion, you need to run. Don't pass go. Don't collect $200. Run, because you need to have somebody that has a fiduciary responsibility, meaning that they're properly licensed. In my industry, it means I have a license, a life and health insurance license. In other industries, it may mean that they have a securities license. So whatever they're advising you on, they should be properly advised, licensed, and not just deeming themselves a financial guru, because they're everywhere. I see it and just like, it makes me crazy.
Yeah, someone that did like a 6-month course. And it's the same thing with a nutrition professional. You can't do a 6-month course and be board certified. Board certified just means the board of the college stamped a piece of paper. That's board certification, right? You can't do something for 6 months and then give people advice and you don't know their background, you don't know what they're dealing with. Everybody's situation is different. And this is why I always go back to Leah and bring her on these shows, because I know that she keeps up with the laws. Remember, each state will have a different law. Every time a government changes, there may be slight changes to the laws that we're not aware of. So getting someone that's properly certified, yes, it will cost more, but you're paying for that knowledge and you're paying for that guarantee that the advice they give you is not going to put you in trouble in the long run, and it's not going to be the wrong advice for you. So really happy you said that, because I'm tired of seeing people, and especially since we have social media, they come and they fool people. They say the right words and they fool people, and then 6 months down the line, a year down the line, they've lost everything and they want to know why. And it's because they got wrong advice from the wrong people that they should never have talked to in the first place, especially when it comes to your money and your savings and protecting your financial future. Yeah, get Leah. Talk to Leah and at least have that consultation so you know what questions to ask your financial advisor in your country.
Yeah, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just seeing any talking and he was on mute, but you're good. Yeah.
I would say, and also you have to be very transparent with the person that you're working with. I always say begin with the end in mind. What is your big picture? What is your exit plan? What do you plan? What is your vision for what you plan to leave to your loved ones, to your family, or build a nonprofit or whatever it is, and then you can reverse engineer. So it's really finding somebody that you can be honest with. If you have a mountain of debt, then you need to uncover that and tell them about all the debt. We need to know the good, bad, and the ugly. Otherwise, the information we're going to guide you to is not going to be correct. It really has to come from a place where you feel comfortable enough where you can say all the things, share all the things. And then I always say, listen, that's what happened then. We're going to push the do-over button and we're going to start from today. Don't come beating yourself up. A lot of times when I start working with the family, the first thing they will say is they'll start telling me everything that they did wrong in the past. I didn't buy this house when I should have. I never started investing. All the things that they feel like they did wrong. And I always say, listen, that was so yesterday. Today's a new day. And we're starting our new money story today. We can't move forward if we're still beating ourselves up about something that happened in the past. We can't change the past. So take what we can from it, learn from it, and then move forward.
Totally agree. That's it. Jackie says, and I love how serious you are about knowing your risk, Lisa. Right? Yeah. It's true. That's the Lisa we have, right? That's why I call her Dr. Lisa, but she'll start shouting him in a second. Now, Michael says, he wants karate. No, sorry, wrong one. So he used the word karate. He wants, he gets bamboozled all the time. He needs ninja karate financial support. That's you, Queen Leah.
Yeah, then talk to Leah.
You are the one.
Let's do it.
Look, so we've got 15 minutes left thereabouts, right? If you want to join the studio, now's the time, my friends. The link is in the comments. Otherwise, you can just ask me to send the link to your DM. I can do that. No, so otherwise, look, I think there's the elephant in the room is always retirement, Queen Leah. Retirement is coming to all of us, right? Especially at this time. If you haven't got a plan for retirement, what should we be doing? What do you want to do? What can you help us with on that topic?
Yeah, I meet people who are in their 50s and 60s and they say, you know what, I haven't put money away for retirement. Where do I start? I feel like it's too late. If you're starting later, the first thing I want you to focus on is getting completely and totally out of debt. No student loans, no car payments, no credit cards, no mortgage. And there are some strategies that you can use to quickly pay down debt. You can use the strategy that some people use, which is putting everything on your credit card and then paying that credit card off every single month. It will actually get you out of debt. If you want to know more about it, I'm happy to share that. There's also Cash Map app that will help you to eliminate the amount of interest that you're paying. I have clients who are going to pay off 30-year mortgages in 7 to 10 years without paying anything extra, not doubling up on payments. That's not what I'm talking about. They're not, putting their refund when they get their taxes. They're literally paying the same dollars, but because they are eliminating and reducing the amount of interest that they pay, you will pay off your debts, credit cards, student loans, mortgages in a fraction of the time. So if you're starting later, that's the number one. I would focus on getting totally out of debt first. That would be my number one. And then let's look at what can we do, right? What can you carve out? If you pay off the mortgage, how much is your mortgage? Is that $2,000 or $3,000 a month? I don't know. Here in California, it's probably $5,000 to $10,000 a month, but wherever you are, definitely look at paying off those debts first. And then I will look at, okay, what is our monthly minimum nut, they call it? Like, how much money do you need to make to be able to sustain your lifestyle? And you may need to make some hard choices. Maybe you're not going to be able to retire in the area that you're accustomed to. It's very costly here in California. The average house here in Monterey, $1.5 million. Okay, $1.5 million. I don't know what that means in pounds or in the area you're at, but that's some good dollars here, right? $1.5 million. So if that's you, then maybe we need to downscale. Maybe we need to downsize. Maybe we're not going to leave that house to our children as we anticipated. Maybe that's going to be part of your retirement. And those are hard questions. And again, I would kind of circle back to, you need to find somebody that you can really be honest with. What do you need to sustain yourself? What can we eliminate so that we can have the real number on what that number looks like, so that we can create a passive income stream. And you may need to, in retirement, continue working. But we want to make sure if we're continuing working that we have the debt eliminated. We understand how much money we need to secure every month. And if you have Social Security or any of those things coming in, and then we'd have to make up the difference. So I hope that helps.
It certainly helps. And I think people underestimate how much you need to have the life that you want in retirement. I think people genuinely and it's a number. 1.5 million is a number, right? It's a number. It's a huge number.
It's a huge number, yes.
I think here in the UK, 200,000 will buy you an annuity. That's, I think, £2,000 a month, thereabouts, something like that.
Wow.
Right. I guess it's for for people to think about. This is why we say, if you haven't started, start now. Yeah. Because you're going to have to accumulate these numbers to make it work.
Right.
But then in the US, you got many different options, right? Now you have people don't seem to like your 401k. I don't know why.
Yeah.
It's a pension fund, right? That's what what can we learn about the provisions that are there for how do we get money in retirement is the question. Where's the money come from?
Well, I want to say hello to my sister Divine. She's in the house, and it's so great to see you. So that's why I talk about protect, distribute, and transfer your wealth. Protection phase is as we're growing our money, we want to have wealth without risk. I don't like a lot of risk. I personally don't really encourage people to do a lot with their 401k. If it's there and you're getting a match and you love it, then go ahead and use it. When we go into the distribution phase, that's a spending phase. That's a retirement phase. We want to have an unlimited amount of money. We want to have an income stream that we can never outlive. A 401k is is a finite amount of money. The market could go down, you could lose money, and you could run out of money. So the 401ks and IRAs are fine, but at some point we need to transition into the distribution phase. How do we create an income stream that we can never outlive? You can do that with a few ways. You can do it with annuities. You can do it with cash value life insurance, can create an additional income stream. You can do it owning trust deeds and notes, things like that create an extra income stream that you can never outlive. And you can do that with real estate also. Some people do that with real estate. I find that people that have a lot of real estate, once they get into the distribution and the transfer phase, real estate becomes a noose around their neck. And this is what I mean by that. They have to decide who they're going to leave that real estate to. How are they going to really distribute it equitably? And typically what happens is the kids don't want the house. They want the money. They want the cash. And a lot of families will find themselves sacrificing to keep that home that they think is going to be that family heirloom that ends up being something that people squabble and fight over, especially if they don't have a current and properly funded living trust. So it really is different conversations. Are you in that accumulation phase and you want to know how much of your money can you use to accumulate and protect? Are you in that distribution phase? Are you wanting to be able to spend your money and know that you won't run out of money? Are you in the transfer phase where you're going to want to transfer this wealth from you to your loved ones, or maybe create a foundation or your own nonprofit?
Okay, I think that these are serious questions that we've got to think about sooner rather than later. So a year ago, I guess this problem was pointed out to us. No, it's not a year ago, to be honest. It was, when we had our wills done, it was sort of pointed out to us that you got properties, and so you realize that your kids can't afford to pay that much. What we call it's not capital gains. It's what you pay when you inherit something, right? There's a charge. Inheritance tax is called in this country. And then you realize if you've got millions of property, millions of assets in assets, your kid, how are your kids meant to pay the tax on that? They couldn't. They never could. So we'll sell them all, Leah. We'll sell them all. We'll liquidize all of it. You know,
Life insurance, life insurance, life insurance. And in this country, we can have capital gains mitigation. It's not usually inheritance tax unless right now you're over 13.5 million, but that number changes. There was a time when it was really only $1 million. Anything over $1 million was susceptible to a inheritance tax. So that number changes. Life insurance is an easy way to mitigate that, and also advanced tax planning.
Yeah.
I help people all the time eliminate, mitigate, and reduce capital gains taxes. So there are strategies that we can use. It's about understanding how to play the rules of the game. Stop playing money checkers. Let's play money chess.
Yes, no, with someone who knows how to play the game a chess grandmaster, we call you, right? You know, it's a thing. You know, I think it's so important because we can lose our money in any which way. There's many different ways. I assure you. Michael, I agree with you. You know, it really is a case of it's exercising trust and honesty in a way that maybe there's no one else you that maybe your doctors and the other person might know you this well. That's your financial advisor.
Yes.
You know, I said the more I told my financial advisor, the better advice I got. I had no plans to get married ever. He's like, you're being stupid. Your kids can evict you if if your wife dies tomorrow. Your kids can evict you from your own house. I'm like, huh? So there's rules. There's a point, right? And literally, all the best advice I've had come from there. Joni, welcome. Glad you joined us.
I got a message from Miss Lisa, and I walked in and I literally turned my computer on. So I was delivering dinner to my sister who has a baby with like a croup. So that is what I was.
And you came, and we're just about to finish.
Oh, good. I know. I just want to say hi. Just nothing. So you don't have to. I see. Look, now my blue background's gone. What the?
Yeah, always something.
Yes, I just caught the tail end of what you were talking about, so I don't want to comment on something that you guys have already said, but definitely, if you're a single woman out there, get a will, because if you own a home or any assets, that will be tied up in court for forever if something happens to you. So get a will. They're not that expensive to do. You could do them online, I think, but I don't know. So anyways, good to see you guys.
Yeah, Joni, feel free to also put things in the comments as well, because I shared a lot of stuff in the part one of our show, where people getting divorced or people losing their loved ones, and the things you have to think about, the questions that you have to now answer. It was a lot of beautiful things that you shared, and I'll put the link to that part one show in the comments as well, because you shared a lot of great things. But Leah, something you also touched on, what kind of life do you want to live, and can you maintain that lifestyle after you retire? I don't think people ask that question enough. Right. We're busy, we earn a paycheck and we spend, and we have a certain lifestyle, and we keep forgetting when we're retiring, we're not getting that same paycheck. So we can't do the same things, and we're left in a place like, oh, what do I do now? So I thought that was a really great point that you raised. And again, having a financial advisor that can look at everything that you have and move things around if they need to, and put things in place when, I think it's such a great, as you said, Annie, it's your doctor and your financial advisor, definitely.
Yeah.
And Michael is making some really interesting comments.
I mean, I have been through the ringer and back and started my own company, and I have tried and failed at different things. And I think that's like kind of how you learn some really important financial and just healing type things for yourself and to be okay with who you are, but also like I can advise people on a lot of pitfalls that if they want to take my advice, they can. It's just that I know the United States court system pretty well. So that's, I guess, where I could offer any help because it's not fair. It is expensive. So that's I'm happy to write down those comments and we can chat later. I know you're finishing things up. So
Yeah, but I love people to come and share their experiences because, like I said, you have your experience and you may raise thoughts in somebody's mind that they never thought about
yeah.
and questions they never asked themselves. So you take information from people that, you listen to everyone and then you go to a financial advisor and say, listen, these are some of the questions that other people raise. Do I have to think about these things? Am I gonna suffer these fates? So that's why I know we have Leah here and Leah is the guru, but having women with that learned experience
Yeah.
share whether on stage or any comments, just to raise those questions, and let's take those questions to our advisor and say, okay, what do we need to do to stop these things? Go ahead.
Leah would be a really good person to come up with a list of like, if you are in financial trouble, what do you pay first? What do you pay second? What do you pay third? So you like, mortgage and food and, utilities and like educational loans way down here. So it's just like, I've had to learn that the hard way because I so many bills like after I got divorced. And so I bet Leah could make a really good, top 10 list. And
That's a great topic, Joe. I love that. I want to highlight something or just kind of expand what you shared, is having a living trust. In the US, some people refer to it as a will. A will is part of a living trust. They work together, but it's really critical that we have a current and properly funded living trust. And how do we know the difference? A will or a living trust, a basic will be about 30 pages. If your estate plan is not more than 100 pages, it's probably not a current and properly funded living trust, just so you know. It's really important that all those supporting documents go along with that. So just, and please don't do it online, okay? You will end up in probate court. Okay, please find something.
100%.
I don't know.
100
You're the
pages, wow.
I said, no, mine were done by a lawyer. You have to get it done legally. And that's watertight.
Yeah, but there's online lawyers here. But it definitely, I agree. It's just, you want something, and it can be pricey for some people who are paying $50,000 in legal fees. So, but yes, you definitely want something because God forbid something happens to you and you do have, assets and homes that you own or home, and you don't want that tied up in court for forever. You want that money to go to your family and your children and have it not tied up. So
Yeah, because when something happens, people come out of the woodwork and try to contest. And and this is why talking to the professionals and getting it, yes, it may cost a lot, but in the long run, no one could come and contest it and it wouldn't be tied up in court. And I see it all the time. People come out of the woodwork and all of a sudden they're laying claim to the house and laying claim to the land, and everyone knows that they were never in the picture, but you can't, you have to go to court with it. And it's unfair, but this is why having the proper documentation. I mean, I didn't even know it was 100 pages long. Wow. Again, this is why talking to the right people is important, right?
Thankfully, in the UK, it's not 100 pages long. It's thankfully it's not. It's a lot shorter. And I will answer I'll say one thing, Queen Leah. And here, you start paying the inheritance tax at £350,000. If you realize that the average price of a house in London is nearly 700,000, for example, at least 500,000, you can't get anything less than that in most places. You realize that you're in trouble if you have a house alone. Just a house is going to bankrupt your kids, time to pay the inheritance tax, and then from there on, you're in trouble. You know, if you start talking six figures, you are, you know, it's not seven figures where you get to $1 million. I'm saying your kids are going to need a loan. Not just to pay now to, it's a number, right? Let's go through some of the comments quickly. Zawadi, look, we're here every 2 weeks on this show. Queen Leah is on twice a week sometimes, so do connect with her. She has, you know, more events than we do. Dr. Lisa,
and also, right, Annie, when you're young and healthy, it's really not a lot to get life insurance. It's not a lot. And, you know, I have like $1 million policy that's like divided among my kids equally, and I make sure that that's up to date. It's just an important safeguard for the people you love. And again, I am not a financial advisor. I'm just a woman who had to figure all this out. And yeah, Leah would definitely be a really good resource.
Definitely. So there was a comment by Jackie here. Jackie, is it right? Love how you encourage paying off debt than stuffing money into a 401k when you're older, finally trying to save. Thank you.
I love that comment. Can I add to that, Jackie?
Of course you can.
We're going to do a bonus section to that. So if you're struggling with debt and you have a 401k, do you know that you can convert it to a individual 401k? And then you can use that money, you can borrow it and pay off your debt. Oh, is that amazing? Yes, you can, instead of borrowing it to pay a house, if you don't have a mortgage and you just have credit cards, you can absolutely do that. It's a solo 401k. So if that's interesting to you and you've got debt, I'd love to be of service to you.
I get a feeling, you know,
so many gems.
I mean, you coming back number 3 will be about pensions and, you know, retirement, you know, planning and, you know, what that means, right? So I think Alison says a worthwhile conversation once again, for sure. So whenever Queen Leah turns up, my friends, you know, pen and paper is what you need, a recorder, really. But go and watch the replay. Lucky for you, for us, there's a replay for this show, right? There's lifestyle maintenance is unequivocally important and integral. I don't know.
Leah, I feel like a really good, interesting episode would be like, you know, also some sort of a top 10 things you have no idea about taxes, or, you know, the ins and outs, because there are so many weird loopholes that as a common person, you've no idea that you only can give $14,000 to each child each year and not have it, you know, retroactively get taxed. That's just one thing I know. But anyways, I respect whatever you would say.
Yeah, I love that. Definitely and you know what? It's understanding the rules of the game. It's playing by the rules. This is why the rich and wealthy get richer and wealthier, because they understand how to play the money game. Most of us make a little bit of money to pay some money. We make a little bit of money to pay some money. That's money checkers. We got to play money chess, where we know the plan 3 or 4 or 5 moves down the road. So that's why it's not about how much money we make. It really isn't. It's about how much money we keep and understanding how to play money chess so that we keep that money in our own coffers, right? In our own family bank, in our own family dynasty. So that's a great topic, Joe. I would love to do that. And it's just, they're all legal, right?
Maybe like money poker. Because I don't know how to play it.
That's gambling. Don't gamble.
I'm kidding around. No, don't play poker with your money.
Right?
No, that's gambling. Yeah, that's gambling to me.
Anyone on my YouTube, I thank you. Anyone on Queen Leah's YouTube, I thank you as well. Please like today's video, comment, and
Don't forget mine. Don't forget mine. I'm streaming to YouTube as well.
Okay.
We'll put the links. We'll put the links.
You know,
Yeah.
if you're on our YouTube channels, please, you know, do the right thing. Say, you know, like today's video, like this video, and then comment, and then subscribe to the channel as well. We all need YouTube fans, right? So, Michael, your lifestyle maintenance questions. It'd be nice to maintain the same lifestyles we have now. I guess, you know, this is I think this is where planning comes into it. You know, because you know, if you look at it, the aim, I believe, I understand, is pay off your debts. When that means you need less money to live the same lifestyle, right? And I say that being mortgage free, for example, means you don't need that money to pay your mortgage when you get to retirement, right? So it's, you know, it's what does that mean? What does lifestyle maintenance mean, really, Michael? That's the point I'm trying to make. You know, that's what it mean for you. Again, that's where you need a financial advisor like Queen Leah to help you to plan. It's a plan. You have to make a plan. Set a goal, make a plan.
And even as simple, Annie, as like having something set up that you will have like a junk haul remover for your home so your kids don't have to do that. They can come through and get what they want because it's like so weird. Like I've talked to people who have had parents die in their homes. They're like, what do we do? Like we're just like the medics come in and bye. You know, it's just like it's just good to think about those little things. Like, and so yeah, again, good conversation. I'm glad I joined at the end.
When my dad died, we got a phone call. We had to go and clear out his house, and then we got the bills. Thanks, Dad. You're a hero. I said, don't be that person, right? There's a song about that. Papa was a Rolling Stone, blah 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 blah. You know, wherever it lays head, it was all that stuff. So you know that song. If you know it, you know it, right? You know, I said, well, I think we can do better, Joni. We can. You say give our kids something that's not a bill, right?
Yep. So get a Leah. Yeah. Everyone get a Leah.
For sure. You know, let's end with Michael's questions. The quality of the questions you ask is very interesting approach to getting correct answers. Indeed. No, look, that if ever that there was a true saying there, Michael. You know, say it's not right. You know, but I think it's also the quality of answers you give to your financial advisor. If you're not honest with them, they can't give you the right advice. I've learned that. You know, you have to be honest and transparent. That's the only way anyone can give you the right advice. But I think that probably goes for every sector of life. Even if you talk to Lisa about menopause, unless you're honest about your symptoms, your situation, your feelings, how's she meant to advise you properly? She can't. You know, none of us can do anything properly without our clients or our friend being honest. But I agree with you. When it comes to money, you have to be willing to be totally honest and transparent. Otherwise, you get the advice that your financial advisor hears. It's your situation. That's not their fault. That's your fault for not telling them what they need to know, right?
Yeah. So it's so important to get a licensed professional that has some accountability. If they do something wrong, they have, it's someone that holds them accountable instead of these fly-by-night individuals who wake up and decide they're a professional, right? Yeah.
I think that's so important. Again, so now the last thing I'll say is this: one of my IFAs, he must talk to me every year. You know, again, there's many financial professionals who, once they've written the document, your plan, your document, your investment, you never hear from them ever again. I'm saying that's in this country, they said, no, you can't do that anymore. You have to be accountable. You must talk to your clients every year, otherwise they're not your client. You can't take their money, you can't take their payment from their account unless you actually. So I think Quilly, I'm sure you talk to your clients every year, right? At least
the plan changes, yeah.
Right. So I think it's important to have a conversation every year as things evolve.
Yeah. Absolutely. Things change, programs change, new things come along. It's not a set it and forget it. Anybody who tells you can set it and forget it, I think they're wrong. Okay, I could say something else.
Run the other way. Run.
It isn't a set it and forget it. New programs come, programs go away. Your situation changes. Maybe you have a birth, or maybe you get divorced, or maybe you get done so many things. So you have to stay up on it. And I like to think about it this way. The average family, they plan for Saturday night. When the rich and wealthy, they plan for generations. That's how they create their family dynasty, because we've already had financial poverty. We've already had generational poverty. Now it's time for us to flip the script and create a family dynasty. We truly can. And I just believe anybody who knows me, anybody who listens to me, anybody who follows me, it's because you're the one in your family that is supposed to change your family's last name forever. And that means that you amass a fortune, a pile of money, but maybe it means that you're the first one to be totally out of debt in your family. Maybe it means you're the first one to send your kids to college. Maybe it means you're the first one to buy a home or pay off your home. It doesn't have, whatever that wealth means to you, it doesn't mean that you have this millions and millions of dollars. Whatever is wealth to you, and then every generation's not starting over. They're starting from where you are, and they can go to the next level. This was amazing. Thank you so much, Annie Godfather.
I think we need a part 3 to this conversation. Because,
Thank you, Lisa.
yeah, but
I
thank you
love
so much, Leah. The wealth of knowledge you have is just incredible, and this is why I refer people to you. You're the only one that actually has the knowledge but breaks it down where people can understand. And it's not just people in America that you could help. I think you could give advice to anyone worldwide, and they take that information and then apply it to their situation. So thank you again, Leah, for being here and blessing us with your presence. Thank you, Annie, for sticking around and not and thank you everyone who came in live and left comments and engaged in the conversation. Thank you to those listening on replay. We will be back next 2 weeks with another conversation around menopause. June is Men's Health Month, so the conversation will switch a little bit and go to andropause and men's health. So I hope you're looking forward to that.
I'm thinking, do I run now or do I wait?
No, you're going to be part of that conversation. We'll have you as your guest speaker. But take care, everybody. Have a safe week, and we'll see you back in 2 weeks' time. Take care, everybody.
Thank you, everyone. Bye, everyone. Bye.
Celebrate it with or without champagne or rum. Achieve success with global.media.com.